Alright guys, welcome back. We got a second week of the side quest Wolverine and like Deadpool Wolverine Alpha fight. There's a coin line quest again, so make sure that you double check your Mysterium before you claim them all. There is another Magnetron crystal on the final objective as well. You just use Clarity and House of Mirror Champions in the side quest. You can just auto fight the threat level 1 and you'll probably get them all. Now, some guys complain that I'm using maxed out 6 stars and 7-star champions, so I went back and just used 5-star Stark Enhanced Spider-Man because I've got him maxed out and ascended as a 5-star. But just to show you that you can do these quests with 5-star champions, so here, this first one is Crit Me With Your Best Shot, which is why I picked Spider-Man to start with. And he is going to keep getting unblockable charges, so we just have to keep tabs of that. And I used one of my favorite synergies, which is I put Mr. Fantastic and Vulture, in this case, I just stuck him on the team. It could be Vulture, it could be She-Hulk, it could be Doc Ock, whatever you want. But you need with that synergy, all your tech and science champions, every debuff you put on the opponent is going to put on a power sting, and that is going to help us out on the third path. So I'm just going to, this first path, very, very simple with Stark Enhanced Spider-Man. Again, I'm just building up my poise charges, and then I'm going to be critting pretty hard. And I'll let the music play out for this path, and then we'll see what the big Sasquatch boss, but we do have a way to help you get around that. So, yeah, we'll see you at the Sassy boss. Okay, so here's the Sassy boss, and this was my first run, and this was my worst run. I did use one revive, I think, on this. I tried Spider-Ham, but the issue here is that he is going to, there's third law where any of your unblockables or evades or unstoppables get copied, and at the same time, he has high energy resistance, so we can't use energy attacks or he will heal back from them. So I tried with Spider-Ham at the beginning. I used one of my Mr. Fantastic pre-fights to put on a Petrify to potentially help with the healing later on in the fight. But what happens is that Spider-Ham gets too many evades and ends up giving a bunch of evade charges and unblockables to Sasquatch, which made it kind of hard to get through this guy. So after this first fight, I had to come up with another solution, and I ended up trying out different champions to see what would work. And then after this one, we actually, for pass 2 and 3, we bring in the Overseer, who is absolutely going to shred this guy for us, even as a 5-star. So if you're worried about this Sasquatch boss, just know that even a 5-star Overseer can absolutely wreck this one. So you can see here what's happening is he's getting a bunch of unstoppable and unblockables and evade charges, which is making it very hard for me to get hit into him. I do, however, and I wish I could parry him more in order to put on more debuffs. because each of the debuffs I put on is putting on a power sting with any science or tech champion, because I brought in Mr. Fantastic with the Vulture synergy, which is giving them that power sting. So again, each time I'm not using all three of Mr. Fantastic's pre-fights. I'm just using the Petrify one in order to, when I get to the end of the fight, that potentially I'm able to get this one down. I go in with Spider-Man here, and we try as much damage as possible. There's also a timer on the top left with your block proficiency drops down from 100 to 0 and refreshes if you throw a striker. The only champion I had in here that had a striker was my Spider-Man, and I didn't even realize that node until the end. I was just kind of playing around the unblockable, because if the timer disappears, he basically is unblockable for the rest of the fight. And I was basically just playing the fight unblockable the majority of the time. But if you do have a striker that you can put on your champions, that will help you immensely with this Sasquatch boss. And again, because I'm getting like evades, even though I'm not getting an actual evade buff, but if I trigger an evade, Sassy gets an evade. If I'm potentially unblockable, he's going to get unblockable. So that's a lot of stuff that you have to keep an eye on in this fight. But I tried as best I could here to get as much damage in until the end of the fight. You don't have to worry too much about the regen. And obviously, I've already lost my Mr. Fantastic pre-fight. In order to keep that pre-fight on, you have to either heavy or use a special, and I got clipped, and that's it. So again, I told you, this is the worst one, but it's fine. This is my worst fight, and I think we end up bringing in Warlock here to give him a shot, also with the Mr. Fantastic pre-fight. And I'm thinking, okay, I can also potentially mitigate his healing with the infections. So I figure I'll try and do that. And again, it doesn't work out as much as I wanted on this first try. But again, we did bring in Overseer for the next two paths, and those are going to be so much nicer fights. I don't think I get a solo, because I think I keep trying to bring in Spider-Man, like Stark Enhanced Spider-Man for it, but it doesn't work out the way I want. And then Overseer absolutely crushed it. So here, again, nothing too exciting. Again, I am mitigating the healing at this point with the infections, but I'm not getting the damage that I need. And I get clipped again, which was very annoying. But again, I am just using 5 stars for the sake of, there's no objective, there's nothing special. It's just to show you that you can use lower level champions, and or at least lower star level champions. You still need good champions, I guess, ranked up, but if you have them, you can go in and try. And again, if you're newer to the game, then start with threat level 1 and work your way up to threat level 5, or as high as the game has you, as high as you can go, right? You want to be, if you're lower down, still get all those rewards from threat levels 1, 2, 3, and 4 if you can, and then once you're ready, jump into threat level 5. But here again, we brought back in Stark Enhanced Spider-Man to try and finish this one off. And again, luckily I'm able to build up a couple poise charges, and we're able to, at least his healing wasn't that crazy at the end, and we were able to take him down. You don't want to use special 2s because he'll just heal from them. It's basically like a net 0, so you're better off using the special 1s. I do use some special 2s later on in maybe the second or third run through, and you'll see how bad that is. But for the most part, it's not that bad. So we finished him off. Now we're going to go on to path number 2. Path number 2 is also not that bad. Here we're going to go up. This one starts with Black Bolt. He's going to gain unblockable charges. Then there's Power Shield and Matador. So you need to get him to a bar of power, manage those unblockable charges. When he throws a bar of power, you're going to get power. And then, so ideally, if you, like with Stark Enhanced Spider-Man, get him to throw 2 specials, evade those, drop a special 2, and you will do tons of damage. Even the special one, not so much. You want to use those big special 2s. So, so I'm going to try in here, and it is sped up, but you get to 2 bars of power, drop a big special 2, and look at that, he's almost done in 1 special 2. That's crazy, even for a 5-star in this quest. So I'm going to let the rest of this path play out, and I'll show you how I did the boss again on the second path. Another quick thing to point out before we go into the Sassy boss, you saw I brought in Overseer because I did need a poison immune champion. I did have Warlock as well, but a poison immune champion for that abomination on the path. So here again, we are going to try Spider-Man Stark Enhanced at the beginning of the fight and see how much damage we can do with him against the Sasquatch boss. But again, because of the evade charges, it makes the fight very difficult. We do get some decent damage in. Again, you build up those poise charges at the beginning. You can get some good damage in on Sasquatch. But when we fail here, we are going to bring in Overseer, and his ramp up is actually quite nice for Sasquatch here. And we're able to mitigate a lot of, we're able to mitigate the healing and a lot of hit, and there's some defensive ability accuracy that you can get with your special 2s on with Overseer that are going to, I think, help us. I think it's what's helping prevent some of the unstoppable from triggering when he's in his wrath mode. So that's pretty sweet. Like here he gets that passive unstoppable when he's in wrath when he throws a special, and with Overseer we're able to prevent that. So very nice here. We're building up poise charges. He's got that evade charge there. That was an accidental striker. That's always fun. But here with the poise there, we're getting some good crits. We're getting some good damage in. But again, it just that evade charge is going to, I think, haunt us at some point, because there's no way to it takes too long to get rid of that. And then he gets that unblockable again. So I get clipped, and that is it for Stark Enhanced Spider-Man. We're going to go in with Overseer. And again, we are just going to give him the Mr. Fantastic pre-fight. Again, all the debuffs that he puts on, and he puts on a lot more debuffs, those are going to be putting on the passive power stings, which is just going to enhance the amount of damage that we can do. And now we're going to see Overseer just absolutely go to town on Sasquatch here. Super awesome champion, even as a 5-star. So we're going to go in here, and I'm going to try and throw a combination of special 1s, 2s, heavies, anything that I can keep that petrify going as much as possible. And you see I've got those special concussions are going to keep adding up, and I do have the masteries to prevent the healing there. So the more debuffs I have on the opponent, the less, I think it's the Resonate mastery. So the more debuffs I have on the opponent, the less they can heal. So the longer the fight goes with Overseer, the more of those special concussions he has on. Plus I've got the Petrify going. And you can see here I do take a couple hits on the block, bait that heavy attack. Even though he's in Wrath, the Unstoppable ends before. But at a certain point here, we're going to be able to prevent some of, I think we have to get the special 2 off before we can prevent those Unstoppables from triggering. Now he's not in Wrath, so that's fine. Go for a big heavy attack to refresh the Petrify. And here we're going to go for a big special 2. And we put on that Disorient. The Disorient there is going to help prevent the Unstoppables from triggering. So even though he's in Wrath right now, I believe... No, so the not in this particular fight. So the Unstoppable still triggered, but this was at the end. I think when I go to the next one, that special 2 is going to come into play where he is in Wrath and he doesn't get those Unstoppables because of the Disorient, but we'll see that, I guess, in the last one. But here, this is where my, that's going to sting. You can only do damage when you have a power sting on the opponent. They put one onto you that you then have to flip onto the opponent, but with an intercept. But because of the synergy that I used, it was actually perfect. I didn't even realize that this node was there until I got to this path, and it's the absolute best synergy here. I do get clipped at the beginning by this Venom pool, but I don't even have to do the intercept or even throw a special, because every debuff that I put on is putting on power stings, which means I'm doing full damage the entire time. And look at the damage from the power stings. It absolutely destroys the opponent. This is by far the fastest path. With this synergy, you can wreck all of them. It's amazing. So I'm just gonna let you watch the rest of the quest here. Nothing else super exciting, but again, you can use your best champions, but if you want to only use 5 stars, this is one of probably lots of different methods that you can use. Just wanted to show you that it is possible with lower level champions. And hopefully this was fun and you enjoyed it. Maybe you learned something new or remembered something that you forgot about. So hopefully that helps, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.